Next up, we have Mark Snodgrass. He's our most recent black belt in the dojo. So if you're not very familiar with the dojo, that's the highest rank you can get. It's not very easy to get there. Mark's there. So he knows his stuff. If you haven't asked a question in the dojo, you really should because Mark will probably answer it and he's really smart. So he's from NLC Mutual. He's the director of data strategy and he's going to be talking about custom charts. So go for it, Mark.
All right, thanks, Anna, and thanks, Dan. That was great stuff, and I liked how you made use of just resources that were already available in Domo, such as the projects and tasks and the webhook. So nothing outside the ecosystem, kind of can keep it all contained. So that's pretty cool. All right, I'm going to share my screen, and so today I'm going to talk about developing custom charts. You see a couple, hopefully, that I've created, and just kind of a little context, particularly about the body heat map chart, why I chose to create that. NLC Mutual is a reinsurer for public entities, and what that means, you think about the city or town that you live in, and they need to have insurance to cover, losses, whether like injured police officers or damaged police cars or city hall damaged or this people suing the city. And so we cover those at the kind of a higher level. Cities themselves, often in most every state, they come together to form what's called an insurance pool to kind of get better rates on all of that property liability, workers' comp insurance. And then those pools in turn often get a higher level of insurance coverage from us. And we're a member-owned organization, and there's about 27 members, 27 states that are purchasing some form of insurance coverage with us. And so we're not for profit. We give back money to those different insurance pools, just trying to collect enough to pay the claims that come in. And we also try and look for ways to help them. And one way we did that was purchasing Domo for each of our members. So we have a little over 21 members using Domo, and they each have their own standalone instance. And I look for ways to help them make use of their Domo instance. And one of the ways that did that was through this body heat map. And I'll just kind of walk through what it is. So, they want to, when they're getting a workers' comp claim, for example, they want to know, hey, I've got a 45-year-old from Oregon, perhaps, that injured a shoulder. What does that typically look like? And so they can hover over this and see, okay, the shoulder injury for someone in their 40s in Oregon is around $20,000. And then they can actually even drill in further and look at different workers' comp class codes, and these are kind of basically different occupation codes, and see what those averages are for those different kind of occupations. And so then that can help them better assess what the claim is going to cost and make the right reserve adjustments and estimate those costs, and help them be a little bit more accurate in what they're doing. So when I had come up with this, I could have done a bar graph for about the 100th time, but thought, well, that's nice. But I think what might be more impactful is if we could, overlay our data with a body part diagram. And I had seen in the how-to videos over in the Help Center about custom charts in regions, and I was like, well, let's see what's out there. And so I just did a little Googling and found a body diagram that was pretty much this, but just needed a little tweaking. And all it needs is it's a file type called SVG is what you can work with. And actually Domo has more recently expanded to like GeoJSON and KML and some other things for kind of geography things. But if you find one out there, or you can make one from scratch, then you can use Inkscape as a free tool that you can download. And you can also use Adobe Illustrator as a popular one if you have that in your toolbox. But then really all it takes is to take each of these are all just individual shapes And you can see over here when I click on one, and you can see that it's labeled as neck. And if I wanted to call it something different, then I would just type in here and label that and set it. And really the key is to label your body part, for instance, or your values with what you're expecting in your data set. So I know my data set and kind of what body parts are coming in there. I did some actual cleansing of that to kind of normalize, because I'm getting that from 20 different systems basically. So putting that all together, and then I just go around and label all that. So there's a heart, for example, and you can actually group things together. So like for ears, I didn't want to do a left ear and a right ear, but you can make two different shapes and group them together and make that ear. So then when they hover over either ear, it's going to show up as ear. And so that's really all that it looks like. And I can actually, one thing I didn't do, let's see if I can scramble real quick and open up this. These SVG files are really basically like an XML type layout. And let's see if I can open this up in Visual Studio Code real quick and just let you see what that looks like. So you could, if you're really in tune and got things pretty close, but just need to tighten up some labels, then you can do that. Let me see if this comes over. So you can see these are just all, here's your ankle, and oh, thank you, release notes. There's your ankle, and these are just like the shape dimensions there of that shape that is. So I wouldn't recommend kind of tweaking that unless you're really in tune with your X and Y axis. But right in here, you could just rename these IDs to whatever value you need. And once you have that, you can go back to Domo. You can upload your custom chart into two different places. One, you could go, if you've got an existing chart that you're working on, and you want to change it, over here on the right, where it typically starts at popular charts when you're creating a new one, you can hop down to custom charts, and it's going to show you some that are in there. Domo's pre-filled some custom charts with different countries, but then you can click on this plus sign and then click on upload chart and drag in your chart into here. And then it's going to kind of auto recognize it and kind of just do some highlighting, saying, yep, does that look right for you? And say, yep, that's good. And then you hit save, and then it gets added and you're working. And it really just functions a lot like any of the maps that are out there, you know, your United States map or world map, because you're just dropping in the name, your body part into the name, for example, for me, and then what value, what metric you want to be working off of. So I'm looking at the average cost on this one, for example. So really easy to work with. You can see this one I did for the United States, making a hex map. That one I did from scratch because at the time I couldn't find a hex map. After I created it, Elliot nicely sent one over to me. But this you can, again, create from scratch just using the shape tool, drag and, you know, configure things around. And again, it's going to just create a new path, and you just relabel that to whatever state you need. You can see these I've all, I'm going to delete that. But if we were to click on any of these, you see I've got Alaska labeled, Washington labeled, things like that. So just drag and drop and put those right next to each other, saved it as an SVG, and then uploaded that and gave me this custom chart then that I could populate, showing which states are using Domo basically right now for us that are part of our membership. So I think there's, as Dan said, with alerts, that underutilized area, I think the custom charts are an underutilized area as well. I could see a lot of people using it for storefronts, and you want to do like a heat map on aisles and where products are and which products are being sold the most, or movie theaters or airplanes and seat heat maps. You could do that certainly on. So there's a lot of possibilities, car parts, putting that all together. So whatever might be particular to your industry, I'd encourage you to give that some thought and think about how you could do that. It's really not too difficult to put together. So as usual, I fly through my demos. So plenty of time left over. Not sure, Richard, I wasn't looking at the chat if anything came up.
Yeah, I can I can mention a couple of questions, which if you know you can answer, and if not, we can look into and maybe post on the Dojo article later. One of the first questions was around, can you add multiple values in the ID? And so that it sort of like could map to an either or value. I don't know if you know that one or not.
Yeah, so no, the answer is no. So like the ear, for example. So I hover over here and you see the both ears are highlighted. So I can't have ear and like a left ear and a right ear. So you're gonna have to pick one. So kind of like when if you you can do regions in the United States. So you're gonna have your US West and West, East, South. Well, you can't do West and then also have Oregon. It's gonna be one or the other on that. So a little give and take on that and figuring some things out of what's going to work best for your setup on that.
And so you might have to clean that up in a data flow or something.
Right. Yeah. If you got kind of comma separated values or something like that, pivot that something into 2 rows, whatever might work to get those separated out.
Okay, cool. And then there's a question about sharing, and I think the question was more about sharing like within the community. But I think it might be useful if I think when you create these, anybody in the instance can use it, right?
Yeah, this like for in our instance, yeah, this is a chart now, just a standard chart type anybody can use. Any of our users can create additional maps, heat maps off of this. So yeah, it's not that custom charts is not custom to yourself. It's to your instance. So the other way you can add that is through the admin center and under company settings and custom charts. And you could add the chart here and you can see which other ones have been added and see if someone's added it 5 different times, for instance. So you can see here there's congressional districts in there. I made a circuit courts one doing basically regions off of that because you do have the option to create regions instead of uploading a chart. So if you're doing something in particular with like the United States, you can use this create region function and it'll walk you through that piece. So that's worth checking out as well.
And then maybe I'll just comment about sharing within the community. We don't have a specific place to share custom chart SVG files, but you could very easily put a post up on the Dojo, link to that file or upload that file on the Dojo and share it that way.
Yeah. They do that.
And if you see any other questions as well, I'm reading through. There's a bunch of comments, so a lot of engagement here. Take a minute just to read through these and see if there's any other things we want to address.
Yeah, Mark, maybe just look at.
Yeah, go ahead, Anna.
I was just going to say, maybe we can answer questions in the chat if as you see them come in.
Yeah.
I see another one, Mark, from Aaron Dean about what advice or tips would you suggest around labeling regions in an SVG or creating groups?
Yeah, it's really all about knowing your data set. So I think what I did to prep for the body part one was just make a quick table card and just had all the body parts and then the count. So knowing the frequency, because with this and with the data that I'm working with, which was just coming from basically 20 different systems, I'm getting, a lot of variations of ribs and ears and different things. So seeing which one's most popular and then using a data flow to consolidate that into common names to then build my chart off of. So that kind of helped me build out what parts I want to label and how many parts I need to label. So, and I think I saw a question from Tyler. Can you drill down into another SVG chart like Northwest region that breaks down into the states? Yes, you can certainly do that. So that's what's great. It's just like a standard chart. So you can build drill paths on bar charts into a totally different chart type. Same with these. And you saw that I just happened to be drilling from a custom chart to a horizontal barb, and there's no reason why you couldn't drill from one custom chart to another custom chart.
Awesome. I think that's the end of the questions for now. Mark, answer the rest in the chat. Thank you so much. This is really cool stuff. Really cool. So thanks for showing that.
Absolutely. Thank you.